Happily ever after. Once upon a time, in a magical land called New York City, there was a teenage girl who had to bail her best friend out of jail for vandalizing a building. It's not the best fairy tale, but what do you expect? Castles and knights. Or maybe you were hoping for some flowers and gowns. Well, sorry, you're reading the wrong fairy tale. There is no castle or crown. There ain't no talking animals or evil stepmothers. And there certainly is no damsel in distress. I was sitting at home, reading a good book when I get a call. I answered it, annoyed that someone was disturbing my read, and my friend Sally told me she needed me to bail her out of jail. Oof, she gets on my nerves sometimes. Apparently, she snuck out when she was supposed to be grounded in her room, so she couldn't call her parents. She told me she had no one to call, and that was the truth. I was Sally's only friend. I have many friends, but she's my best. Anyways, she said she got caught spray painting the side of a gas station. What an idiot. I'm not into that stuff, so I couldn't believe she'd do such a thing. She said it was for fun, but man, she's an idiot. How can one do illegal crap and not expect to get caught? Yikes. So there I was, borrowing my mom's minivan to rescue my friend from jail. I guess she's a damsel in distress. There, you're happy, but no prince saves her, so stop wishing. I ain't no prince, and she's just an idiot. As I said before, you're reading the wrong fairy tale. When I get to the New York City Department of Corrections, the police had already locked her up in a cell. Didn't she tell them I was coming? This situation already annoyed the heck out of me, so now that I had to wait longer, I was distraught. I told her I was coming. I would like to get Sally Dans. I commanded a man dressed in a police uniform. I pulled out my wallet from my purse. I have money. How much is it gonna be? The cop frowned, chewing a piece of gum. Sally Dans? She just called me. I know she's here. Please just get her. I tried to stay calm, but my patience was wearing thin. Mom, calm down. I'll go search for her file. I just got here, give me a break, he sneered, causing me to get even more upset. He rolled back in his chair to a tall file cabinet, still chomping loudly. He stood up from his seat to the highest drawer. The man pulled out a sheet of paper and stood there, staring at it. Chomp, chomp, chomp. Fury rushed inside of me. I clenched my jaw, squeezing my fists. My nails were digging in my palms, but the pain reminded me to behave. As much as I wanted to pounce that man, I knew I had to act polite. Chomp, chomp, chomp. He turned to me, waving the paper around in the air. Vandalizing a building, huh? You into that stuff too, huh? No, sir, I answered through my teeth. But he didn't believe me. Do your parents know about this? Yes. My mom let me use her car to get my friend. They didn't know, really. I was afraid if I told them I was bailing Sally out of jail, they'd never let me hang out with her again. I was the only one who knew about Sally's illegal misbehaving. He nodded, chomping. I swear I felt spit fly onto my face. Well, darlin', do you know what happens when no one bails ya out? I guess he didn't hear me when I told him I wasn't into that stuff over his loud chewing. No, sir. Come on. I'll let you come with me to get your friend. It says she's only been in jail for 30 minutes, but you'll see others who have been in there for years. Maybe it'll change your mind about graffiti. Oh, goodness gracious. I couldn't believe he was forcing me to go with him. I don't want to see a bunch of sad teenagers sitting all alone in their mistakes. Before I knew it, I was walking behind that dummy down a hallway full of jail cells. Sad and angry faces stared at me as we walked. Most of them were my age, but some were younger. They were yelling and crying at me. I tried not to listen as I kept my gaze on the back of the cop's back. Where ya goin', girlfriend? A boy said, poking his head through the bars. He had a mouth full of silver and a tattoo running across his head that said, "See you in hell." I couldn't imagine why he was in jail. Murder maybe? The thought brought a chill running up my spine. Ignore, the cop spoke. Or don't, for they might be your new neighbors. I rolled my eyes, crossing my arms. After what felt like forever, we finally made it to her cell. She was sitting on a thin mattress with her head in her hands. When she heard us, that idiot looked up with a big ol' smile. You came, she cheered, instantly standing up. I rolled my eyes again. Yeah. The cop started digging into his pocket, searching for the keys. Oh. I was starting to think you'd never come. Oh my God. She laughed, jumping up and down. I wasn't bored or nothing, I had company. She pointed across the hallway to another cell. Crystal blue eyes locked with mine. His name is Seth. He's pretty nice, spoke Sally. For a split second, I forgot where I was. The guy was leaned against the wall, arms crossed. He was tall, taller than the cop. His skin was fair and pale. His hair was brown and thick, with uncontrollable curls sticking out of the sides. But this imperfection made him even more flawless. He reminded me of a prince or something. A prince in an orange jail uniform, that is. Hi. He simply said. My heart skipped a beat. I think the cop and Sally were arguing, but I was too hyper-focused on the boy with blue eyes. I couldn't find my words. My tongue was numb, and my heart was pounding against my chest. All I did was stand there like a complete fool. Then he smiled, snapping my focus back into my surroundings. Oh, that smile. Boy, let me tell you, that smile was the biggest I'd ever seen. It let loose a million butterflies in my stomach. The guard and Sally began to walk towards the exit. My feet started working before my brain did. I just left the charming stranger, walking behind Sally. Wait. The boy, Seth hissed. I spun around. Seth moved from the wall to the bars. I stood still, waiting for his next move. Can you do me a favor? He asked in a low tone. Confused, I looked back at the cop to see if he heard too. But Sally was talking too loud, the way she always does. I looked back at the boy. I took a step closer to the bars. So close, he could reach out and strangle me, but I had a feeling he wasn't violent. I didn't know him at all, but I trusted him. I know that makes me sound like a complete moron, but it's 100% true. I trusted him. I'm not supposed to be here. I've been in here for a day. And it's not my ideal scene, if you know what I mean, he whispered, shaking his head. My friend framed me. It's a long story. Anyways, my mom is probably wondering where I am. Can you call her for me? I'm not guilty, I promise. It took me a minute to sort my thoughts. Wait. Don't they let you have a phone call? Yeah. One, and I dialed the wrong number, he sighed. I was nervous. I've never been in this predicament. I looked back at the cop who was now opening the door. They still didn't notice me. I pulled out my phone. Okay. Fine, I said. He smiled again. Thank you. When I dialed the number, it rang a few times, then a woman answered. I told her about her son and what he said happened. There you go, I said to Seth when I was finished. Thank you so much. I could tell he was looking for my name. Vici. I smiled. No problem. Then, I left the catch up with the others. And no, this is not going anywhere. That night I couldn't stop thinking about the boy. Not because I was in love or anything. How can you fall in love at first sight? It's impossible. The next day I found myself reading another good book, but this time in the city library. I was too afraid I'd get a call from Sally if I were at home. I couldn't risk any interruptions. I was way too deep in that book. But of course, I got interrupted anyway. Hi, said a voice from in front of me. I finished my sentence, then looked up with irritation. But that was quickly replaced with confusion. It was a boy my age. It took me half a second to realize who he was. Seth. Hi. I laughed, feeling warmth in my cheeks. I didn't recognize you without the uniform. Ugh, yeah. He grinned. I want to thank you for calling my mother. I would have been stuck in there if it weren't for you. Ah, sure, no problem. I smiled. So what are you doing here? I mean, if I were you, I'd be kicking your friend's butt right now. He laughed a little. I would, but he's in jail now. His smile never faded. Neither did mine, to be honest. I'm actually here to read. I noticed the book in his arms. It was the same book I was reading. Great book. I cheered in excitement. I held up my copy to show him. Oh, that's cool. You a Homer fan, too? Are you kidding? I love the Odyssey. He was still laughing. Can I sit with you? I nodded, patting the chair next to me. We read for hours and hours together. Then, we talked forever about the book. We shared the same interest in all of the books. Our favorite was book 5. After we got to know each other more, we fell in love. Ha, what? Did you think we wouldn't? Come on, be real. It was love at first sight. You're welcome. This story turned out to be fairy tale-ish after all. The end.